In 2022, a musician signed a single endorsement deal that reportedly pays him more every single year than most artists make across their entire careers. Over $100 million annually. And it has nothing to do with music. That deal belongs to Drake. And here's the part that should really stop you. It's not even his biggest business move. It's not his riskiest bet. It's not the one that almost didn't happen. It's just one single piece, of a business empire that almost nobody breaks down properly. 25 years ago, this same guy was getting paid a few $100s an episode on a Canadian teen drama nobody outside Canada had heard of. So here's what we're actually going to do in this video. We're going to trace the exact chain of decisions, the label he built before anyone signed him, the risky bet that could have made him look like a joke, the deal that even Universal Music Group won't confirm the real number on, and the one number that financial experts can't agree on to this day, off by over $100 million. By the end, you'll understand exactly how an artist turned his own name into a company. Let's get into it. Section 1. The origin. The actor who became a rapper. Let's go back to where this actually starts. Because it doesn't start with a record deal. It starts with a TV show. Aubrey Drake Graham was born in Toronto in October 1986, to a Black American father and a Jewish Canadian mother. His parents split when he was young, and he grew up splitting time between two very different sides of the city, sometimes with money, often without. From 2001 to 2007, he played Jimmy Brooks on the Canadian teen drama Degrassi, The Next Generation. It was a real hit in Canada, virtually unknown everywhere else. He was a teenager, getting a modest per-episode paycheck, with zero indication that any of this was leading toward a business empire. But here's the detail that actually matters. That acting job gave him something almost no rapper has at 19, a front-row seat to how entertainment actually works as an industry. Contracts, production schedules, brand deals. He understood the business machinery of entertainment before he'd ever recorded a song that mattered. While still acting, he started making music on the side. In 2006, he self-released his first mixtape, Room for Improvement, selling copies directly through his own website. In 2007, he dropped a second mixtape, and this is the moment to founded OVO Sound, a record label that would go on to sign and develop artists like Party Next Door and Majid Jordan. This wasn't Drake slapping his name on a logo for merch. This was infrastructure, a label capable of developing other people's careers and generating its own catalog, completely separate from whether Drake himself dropped a new song that year. At the same time, OVO expanded into apparel. That owl, originally just a mixtape tag, became one of the most recognizable streetwear symbols in music, through limited drops and collaborations with brands like Canada Goose and Timberland. An annual festival in Toronto, OVO Fest, turned into a genuine cultural event in its own right. Then came a deal that would quietly define the next decade. In 2013, Drake signed a global creative partnership with Nike's Jordan brand, a relationship that would eventually evolve into NOCTA, a dedicated Drake-designed line with Nike covering footwear and apparel. This wasn't a check-cashing endorsement. It gave him creative control over product design and campaigns, an actual seat at the table. By his late 20s, a kid who used to get a few $100s an episode was now running a label, a clothing brand, and a major sportswear partnership, while still being one of the biggest touring musicians on the planet. And that's exactly when he made the bet that could have blown all of it up. Section 3. The risk nobody talks about. Here's the part of the story that gets skipped in almost every Drake is Rich video. Nearly everything he built outside music depended on a bet that could have easily made him look ridiculous. The bet that his personal brand alone was strong enough to sell things that had absolutely nothing to do with rapping. In 2016, Drake launched Virginia Black, a bourbon-based whiskey brand. This is a brutal category. Most celebrity liquor brands quietly fail or stay tiny forever. Virginia Black reportedly sold thousands of bottles in its first week and moved tens of thousands more in its launch year. Solid numbers for a celebrity spirits brand, though nowhere close to the scale of the biggest names in that space. Around the same time, he signed on as a creative consultant for Apple Music at its 2015 launch, becoming one of the platform's most visible early ambassadors, at a moment when streaming was still fighting for legitimacy against piracy and widespread industry skepticism. If Apple Music had flopped, that association would have followed him. Every one of these moves carried real downside. A flopped whiskey brand doesn't just cost money. It makes the artist look like just another celebrity cash grab. And then there's the biggest gamble of all, the one involving the most money, and the one Universal Music Group has never fully confirmed. In 2022, Universal re-signed Drake to what it publicly called a long-term worldwide partnership, covering recorded music, publishing, film, television, and brand ventures. Estimates of its value range from roughly $360 million to $400 million or more. Universal has never confirmed the exact number. Think about what that means. A company doesn't structure a deal like that for a musician. It structures a deal like that for something closer to a commercial ecosystem, which is exactly what Drake was betting he'd become. So, did the bet pay off? Keep that question in your head, because the next section is where it actually gets paid. Section 4. The Payoff. Diversifying beyond music. In 2022, Drake signed a major partnership with Stake.com, a cryptocurrency-based online betting platform. Reports put the deal at around $100 million a year. By some estimates, one of the most valuable endorsement deals in entertainment history. It's controversial, because online gambling partnerships always are. But financially, it reportedly outpaces most musicians' entire annual income from a single sponsorship. That deal alone would be a career-defining number for almost anyone. For Drake, it's one line item. Touring remains the single biggest earner in the whole operation. His It's All A Blur tour became one of the highest-grossing hip-hop tours in history, reportedly pulling in several $100 million over its run. In April 2025, he became the first artist to surpass 500 million RIAA certified units across albums, singles, and features, a catalog so large it keeps generating royalty income year after year, hit album or not. Meanwhile, OVO kept growing quietly in the background. OVO clothing alone is estimated to generate tens of millions of dollars annually. In January 2024, OVO Sound secured an investment from the Santa Ana Label Group, a joint venture backed by Sony Music, bringing outside capital into the label. His wider business network, publicly listed under the banner Drake Related, now includes NOCTA, the Better World Fragrance House, a production company called DreamCrew, and a studio venture, El Chico Studios. Stack all of that together and you get something almost no musician actually builds, a genuine multi-brand company with revenue sources that don't rise or fall together. Touring slows down, OVO still sells. An album cycle ends, the Stake deal keeps paying regardless. Music trends shift. Real estate, including his Toronto estate, known as the Embassy, reportedly worth over $100 million, keeps appreciating whether he's in a studio or not. So yes, the risky bets from the last section paid off. But here's the question almost nobody asks next. What's actually holding all of these unrelated ventures together? Why do they work as a group instead of feeling random? Section 5. The Hidden Secret. Brand as Infrastructure. Here's the deeper mechanic hiding underneath everything you just heard. Drake didn't build a random portfolio of side hustles. He built almost everything around a single reusable asset, his own identity. The owl logo isn't just a clothing tag. It's the same visual identity across the record label, the festival, and the merchandise. Virginia Black, NOCTA, and Better World Fragrance House aren't disconnected personal projects with separate stories. They're extensions of the exact same persona he spent 2 decades building through his music and public image. Compare that to artists who diversify into completely unrelated industries, random tech startups, unrelated consumer products, ventures with zero connection to who they publicly are. Those bets fail more often because the brand doesn't transfer. Drake's ventures, almost without exception, lean on the same emotional and cultural association. Toronto pride, the OVO aesthetic, a specific mood of luxury that fans already connect to him before they ever see the product. This is the actual transferable lesson here, and it applies far beyond music. When you diversify a personal brand, the ventures that succeed are the ones that feel like a natural extension of what people already believe about you, not a random pivot chasing whatever's trendy that year. Now, here's where it gets genuinely strange. Despite all of this, nobody can agree on how much any of it is actually worth. Section 6. The number nobody agrees on. Ask 5 different financial trackers what Drake is worth in 2026, and you'll get 5 different answers, and they don't just disagree by a little. Celebrity net worth puts him around $400 million. CEO today estimates $350 million. Other trackers land at $300 million, $250 million, even lower. That's a gap of over $150 million on the exact same person, in the exact same year. Why does that happen? OVO's internal financials aren't disclosed. The real terms of the Universal deal have never been confirmed. Stake.com hasn't verified the exact payment structure. Real estate valuations are estimates, not sale prices. That disagreement isn't a flaw in the reporting. It's actually the whole point of this video. His wealth has grown gradually, layer by layer, deal by deal, which is exactly why it's so hard to put one number on it. Section 7. The Real Lessons. What Drake's business career actually teaches. Let's zoom out. Because underneath the specific deals, there's an actual playbook here. Lesson 1. Own your label before anyone else owns it for you. Drake put the name OVO on his own mixtapes years before he had a major deal. When major distribution finally came, he still controlled the brand identity underneath it. Build the thing you own before you sign the deal that makes you famous. Leverage comes from what you already control, not from what you're hoping to get. Lesson 2. Diversify around your identity, not away from it. Every major venture, the label, the clothing, the whiskey, the fragrance, extends the same brand story. He didn't chase unrelated trends. That coherence is what makes a brand extension believable instead of desperate. Lesson 3. Big deals follow proven staying power, not one hit. The Universal deal, the Stake.com partnership, the Nike collaboration, none of these came from a single viral moment. They came after roughly a decade and a half of consistent output. Longevity, not virality, is what attracts the deals with real staying power. Lesson 4. Controversy doesn't have to sink a brand, sometimes it fuels it. During the widely publicized 2024 rap rivalry with Kendrick Lamar, Drake's catalog streaming numbers reportedly rose even through the criticism. Public conflict is genuinely risky and can damage a brand. But for an artist with a large enough existing audience, attention, even negative attention, doesn't automatically translate into lost revenue. Lesson 5. Not every empire needs one big exit. Some entrepreneurs build toward one giant payout, a sale, an IPO, one transformative deal. Drake's approach is the opposite. Layer after layer of steady, diversified income, none individually massive enough to make headlines the way a billion-dollar sale would, but collectively durable in a way a single hit-dependent career never could be. Drake didn't become one of the wealthiest names in music by accident, and he didn't get there through royalties alone. He got there by treating his own name as a company, a label he owned before anyone signed him, from a few $100s an episode on a Canadian teen drama, to deals so large that even the people tracking his wealth can't agree on the final number. Every single step added another layer to a business that doesn't depend on any one song being a hit. If you found this breakdown valuable, hit like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments which part surprised you the most. And if you want to see how other artists and entrepreneurs built their empires, those breakdowns are already on this channel. See you in the next one.